Yeah, can you see them on there? If you can't see them, look on the side, and there's one that says because there's always one that says private chat, and then up at the top it says comments. Because you should already be seeing some comments over there. Got to mute that.
Yep.
You got it now?
I got them. I can't see me and the comments at the same time, though.
Oh, okay. You on your phone?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, it'll go away. But you know what you look like, man. You look good.
Yeah, I ain't worried about it.
So
I just want to see the fashionably late guy.
Oh, everybody gets tired of looking at me. At least they get a laugh out of that. So, oh, let's see here. All right, guys. So, first off, I want to say hello to all you girthy geeks out there. Thanks for stopping by. You know, we're already up to 24 of you guys. I know Kyle doesn't know about the girth, but we'll go ahead and take a drink on that. Since I said
is this a drinking game?
It is.
So if I keep saying girth, everybody's gonna be drunk in about 30 minutes.
Everybody, you know, we count anything. So it could be some of them could be drinking soda or water, whatever they prefer. We don't hold them to anything.
Right.
Well, they mainly hold me to it.
Right. All the bass on Santee were extremely girthy this week.
They were indeed.
Yeah.
I will say this. I will say this. You know, we're going to dive right into it, I guess. So Santee, what happened on day one, man? You had two good bags on the second and third day. 19 and change both those days? But you come in, was it 13-15 or 15-13? I can't remember.
13-15. So I had right about 14 pounds on day one. And on Santee, that is no good at all.
Especially this time of year.
I guess I just kind of got I started off on some places where I thought I could catch some staging females, like some big ones. And I didn't catch any. I went to some bedfish, and I didn't see a whole lot of new ones. So I just kind of spent a little bit too much time fishing for some like 3-pounders, and then I lost a couple. And then I feel like I got a little bit rushed because I spent some time on some that didn't bite. And then I finally, lost one of the ones that I really needed. And then I just kind of misjudged a couple, to be honest with you. I had a couple that I thought were 3-pounders, and then on day 2 I was having a tougher day, and I caught them, and they were both 4-pounders. So I misjudged a couple on day 1, thought they were smaller, so I didn't spend a lot of time on them. Day 1, sometimes when you're fishing, it just doesn't come together, and sometimes it does. That was just one of those days. It just didn't really come together. And the next 2 days, it was just, I felt like it was a whole lot easier for me to find those bigger fish. And I'm saying he's got 4-pound males on the bed everywhere. Woo! So it was easier to find some of those. I don't really know why. I just found more big ones those next 2 days that were, more apt to biting. To be honest with you, it didn't come together on day 1, and I made a couple mistakes.
Well, it happens. Now, guys, for all of you all that don't know, for all of you guys that live under a rock, now I'm going to claim Kyle here because I've been watching him for a long time. I'm going to claim him as a YouTuber. Now, I know he's fished. He's like me. He's fished a lot of tournaments throughout his life. He's a tournament angler. He is. I'm not discrediting him in any way. He's a daggone elite pro. I can't discredit the man. Trust me. It ain't happening. But I'm claiming Kyle as a YouTuber who is now a pro. That's right. I'm putting it out there. I'm saying it. Kyle may disagree. He can. It's him after all. I mean, he has all rights.
So I do agree in a sense, is that a lot of my time before I was a tournament fisherman was a YouTuber. But I don't have the gear where when I'm fishing, my first thought is to film. And some people do. Like if they come up schooling out there's guys who will make sure the camera's pointed at the schooling fish. Not me. No. Like if they come up schooling, I'm catching them like every time.
Exactly. And so I call us because that's how I am. Yeah. We're anglers that do YouTube. Exactly. We're not YouTubers that fish. That's what
exactly. That's what I say.
Because I'm never looking for the shot. I mean, if I get it, trust me, 90% of the time it's a total accident.
I agree. But
I'm always looking for the bass.
Right. I'm actually envious of those guys who have the focus because we're all passionate about fishing. But some guys have that focus to whenever some stuff's happening fast, they can think about it. Hey, I need to turn the camera on. I need to get this shot. And for me, it's all out the window. It's just a mayhem. I'll tell y'all what afterward. You know? That's kind of how I
am. If I've got a chesty on, that's the only way it's getting turned to the shot.
Exactly.
So that's it right there. But now, guys, I want to introduce you to Mr. Welcher. Now, he does have a YouTube channel. I will put it in the description of the video. I will also put it in the comment section over here. He's somebody that I've been watching for a long time and had the actual pleasure to finally get to meet him at the Knoxville Fishing Show and Expo. I was actually doing a live stream. I think I kind of scared him a little bit because when I went by him, I was like, Kyle Welcher! So I was like, you're going to come by and talk to me later, man. He was probably like, I'm not going to talk to that, caveman looking fool.
But it was cool though. Whenever we talked, we kind of hit it off.
We did, man. I told Kyle, I said, Kyle is just a dude. I mean, that's it. He's a dude.
Just a dude.
Just a dude, man. I mean, he's like any of you guys out there. He is a dude. He's like me. He's a dude. He's the dude. That's the thing. And this is the part that I want to introduce. And I hate to say this, and I'm going to let him tell me how he wants me to do it. I'm going to use the term runner-up. But for any of you that were not watching the Bassmaster Classic, Mr. Welcher here, I thought he won it. I come up out of my chair. I was hooping and hollering, but second place. Now, you've qualified 2 or 3 times for the Classic now.
2 Classic. That's my second Classic.
Second Classic.
Yeah.
Woo. That's just cool. I'm a fanboy. So to get to hang out with somebody like Kyle, especially, at the show, I done told him I got a shirt back here somewhere. See that? Let's see. I never can get this right. About right there. Yeah, right there. I got to get his signature on my shirt. But guys, he's a stick. What is it? I didn't even know this about you. 30 straight times in the money?
Well, it was like 20, 21, I think. And then we missed like 4. We missed like 4 in a row though after that. So
yeah, well, I mean, that's a good start. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's not too bad. Yeah, as far as the Classic goes, runner-up's fine. Second, I'm not offended by it. I'm not brokenhearted about it. If you go into every tournament and you're going to be mad at second place, and I'm not saying you should be pleased with second. We're very competitive. But if you go into a tournament and you're going to be like super, like going into the tournament, if they say, hey, second place is good, that's better than you're going to do most of the time, you have to kind of be like, that is a good finish. That's a good tournament, a good event. We did good. But when you get that close and you get to be a part of it, it's just hard not to want to win, and you do want to win always. You always want to win everything. But you still also have to be, like you've been around, fished enough tournaments, you've had your butt kicked enough times to realize second's not that bad. Like it's actually a good event. It's just not the perfect event. So I'm over that one. That one's cool. We're moving on. Next, we got Chickamauga, not far from you.
Yes.
2 weeks.
And I was looking at some Kyle Welcher fishing videos on YouTube, by the way, guys. Go hit that subscribe button. And, there's a whole lot of chick videos out there. Whole lot of them. So
There are one or two.
He might know something. And then he dropped a little bomb on me. He might know a guy that lives on that lake. Well, of course, he can't get any info. But
can't get info.
That's right. Can't get info.
Yeah, I fish chick. I've caught a bass or 2 out of chick.
But I seen that.
Yep.
Oh, am I back?
You all good now? But yeah,
okay.
We actually lived beside Chickamauga for like a year and a half. We lived in Cleveland, Tennessee, fished Chickamauga all the time. That's actually where I lived whenever I fished the Opens and the Costas. And my wife had a really good job in the area. We lived there for a while before I actually, qualified for the Elite Series. So that was my first real time of spending a lot of consecutive days on the Tennessee River. And the Tennessee River is its own beast. It's unique to anywhere else in the country, that river system, they don't act the same. They don't act normal there. They're Tennessee river fish. Like you put those an asterisk beside those Tennessee river fish. They have a mind of their own, and you really don't get a feel for those types of places. Any lake that's unique, you don't get a feel for it unless you spend consecutive days in a row on the lake, because then you get a feel for just how different they act when the conditions change. So getting able to fish 5, 6, 7 days in a row or 3 days in a row, you really get to feel how that stuff changes. So I lived there for a year, fished there a ton, and it really did help me a lot on the Tennessee River. And I can apply that everywhere we've been so far, because them Tennessee River fish, they act funny everywhere you go.
They're different. They're fun, but they're different.
They're fun. They're fun when they bite. They're not fun in about October when they don't bite at all.
Here's something for you guys. Now, listen, I'm going to introduce, or I'm going to let him introduce himself. Normally, I've already done this by now. So, Kyle, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce to everyone. We're up to about 57, 60 people bouncing back and forth in here. But this was pretty funny for all you guys that don't know. He does have a background as a poker player. So, all right.
Yeah, that was kind of something that I never set out to do. It was just I like to play. You know, my people in my family played. Back whenever I first started, online poker was still relatively bigger than it is now. It wasn't like in the heyday or nothing. I was behind that, but it was still kind of big. It's just kind of a hobby of mine. And everything that I do, I have to do it 100%. I guess I'm OCD or obsessive or something. Everything I do, I want to be the best I possibly can at it. Like, if we're flipping the quarters, I want to figure out a way to make it 51% instead of 50%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just like, I want to be the best at anything I can. So I started playing poker a lot, playing poker as much as, I was still fishing a ton, but I would also play poker a lot. And then it got to the point where whenever I got better at it, I was consistently winning. And then it got to the point where, like, I would go to Florida and I might stay for like 2-3 months in a row, stay down there the entire time and just play poker every single day and, get hotels and eat at fancy restaurants. And I started keeping up with how much I was winning and losing and the hours I was playing. And I realized, hey, this has become substantial enough where you can't ignore it anymore. It's not a hobby anymore. We have to actually do this because it makes more sense to do this than to fish at the time. Yeah. So I started playing poker a ton. It kind of took over from there, just naturally being the more productive thing to do. I mean, just was, because if you're not on the Elite Series or on, the MLF or on the Pro Circuit or on the MPFL, you're not, there's not that many people doing that and making a good living. So, it's more productive to play poker at the time. So I played poker for a long time and I never really was as passionate about it as I was about fishing. So no matter what happened, I still had to go back and try to fish professionally, try to fish the opens, and then it worked out. I guess it was just, I was very blessed. I feel like that's what was supposed to happen. I fished the opens and qualified for the elites, and I definitely, things worked out in a way where I can't explain them. It just happened, and it happened extremely quickly. So I feel like the Elite Series is where we're supposed to be, no doubt. So I'm glad we kind of took a step back from poker, and I'm happy to be exactly where I am now, even though I did play poker for a long time, and I still enjoy it. I still play sometimes. I actually still play a good bit, but, I'd rather be fishing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm the same way. I didn't play at the level you played at, but I love poker, and I've always been pretty good at it. Just never got into it as deep as you got into it. But I think there's a lot of bass anglers that are poker players, because we all kind of lie a little bit about how good our hand. Or how good our, we got to bluff a little about how big the fish was. So, but that's pretty, Go ahead.
So a lot of the poker players do play poker. A lot of the fishermen actually do play poker. Like Chris Aldane plays a lot. We actually had a big poker tournament at a Spro Writers Conference, or it's not just Spro, it's Outdoor Brand Team Writers Conference, where a lot of companies get together and a lot of the pros were there. And Drew Cook, who just won Santee, also won the poker tournament up there at the Spro Writers Conference. So everybody was up there playing poker, and Drew Cook kicked our butt there also.
That's just kind of how it goes. All right, man. So I had a comment on here. I'm going to find it again. I was just kind of going back, making sure. Yeah, here's one right here. So what were your go-to baits in the Classic? And then we're going to expand on that. What were your go-to baits? What were you really catching them on in Santee too? Uh-oh, wait a minute. He went dark on us. Let me make sure he's still there. We've been having some connectivity problems, so you guys hang in there with me. All right, I'm just shooting him a text. Yeah, here he comes back right now. There he is. All right, you're back. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, you just went completely.
Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know what happened.
That's fine, man. That's technology. That's what I do. I'm a network geek. So, you know, if technology worked all the time, I wouldn't have an actual real job. So.
Right, exactly.
So now, what were the key baits in the Classic? And then let's carry that over for Mid-South fishermen. What were the key baits for you this past weekend in the Santee Cooper Elite event?
Okay, so at the Classic, I was using a lot of different baits. I don't know if any of y'all watched Bass Live, but I was actually fishing anywhere from like. You lose me?
No, I got you. You're froze up, but I don't know.
You got
what's
me?
going
Okay.
on.
Mine was doing a little loading circle, so I didn't know. I was using a lot of baits. I was fishing from 45 foot deep all the way up to like 2 foot deep. So I was using, I would say the most the fish I weighed in came on a swim bait. I was throwing a 6-inch harness style swim bait that I was skipping around, throwing over shallow cover and stuff like that. And I was using a 2.5-inch swim bait that I was fishing out really deep over some of those schooling fish and herring fish and stuff like that. And then I would also throw a jerk bait, stuff like that over brush piles, and then also a shaky head in brush piles. Then on the final day, I made a little adjustment, and there was pollen all over the water. We know what happens when there's pollen everywhere. They're moving shallow. So I picked up me a little wacky rig, and I went skipping around super shallow docks in the backs of pockets. And I caught them all there. I caught 4 of them there on the final day doing that. But the predominant thing for me, if I needed to get a bite, I was going to pick up a swim bait. And it was either going to be a 2.5-inch little swim bait on a jig head, or it's going to be that 6-inch, you know, harness style swim bait that I was just throwing around all kinds of shallow cover. And I didn't weigh in a bunch on that big swim bait, but I did weigh in a bunch on the small little swim bait. Weighed in, like I said, a handful on the shaky head, and a handful on the jerk bait, and a handful on the wacky rig. And now it seems like we got too many handfuls because I only weighed in 15. But I caught a lot of fish. I caught a lot of fish all throughout the tournament. And you're culling, and I don't even really remember exactly what all I caught every fish on, but I'm sure there'll be a YouTube video where you can go see exactly what I caught. But at Santee Cooper,
Kyle Welcher fishing.
I think on Santee Cooper, I weighed in 15 bedfish, and I caught 1 on a wacky rig that I weighed in, maybe 2 on a wacky rig, and then the other 13, I caught every single one of them on the 13 fishing little invader bait. And the reason that bait's so good is it's very slim and slender. And I'm not trying to promote the bait as much as the properties that make it good. You want a bait, whenever you're bed fishing, those fish are not trying to actually eat your bait. So you want something that whenever they attack it at all, the bait's slim, so it goes all the way in their mouth. And you want to be able to put a big enough hook in it that if you're catching one of these 5-6 pound fish, you got a big enough hook where you're not going to lose that fish a very high percentage of the time. So that bait is very slim and slender, and it's got a little bit, it's like very slim, but it's also got some tails on it that whenever I'm in the bed and shaking it, I can actually see those tails quivering the whole time I'm shaking it, because it's got very thin tails, and it's got a thin plastic and a hook slot, which is really good because when you set the hook, you're not going to lose that fish very often because it's got a very thin piece of plastic to go through. So not just that bait, but that's the properties that I look for in a bait where I'm bed fishing. I want something that can get really good, and I'm going to land on a high percentage of the time. That's the 2 things I'm looking for, and that's the best bait I have found for it. So that's what I used the whole entire week. That's what I caught. At least 13 of them, maybe 14 of them on it, and then, like I said, 1 on a dang wacky rig. But that was the bulk of it.
All right, man. So I know we kind of touched on this a little bit, but from Real Appalachian Angler, a neighbor, by the way, Kyle, can you describe how you got into tournament angling as to where you are now? Did you start at the club level, work your way up, or how did you get started?
So I remember the first time I seen a bass tournament. My dad fished a very little. Like he would go fishing 2 times a year, 3 times a year, not very much at all. And he took me when I was young, and I just loved it from the very first time I went. And I still remember being on the lake, and I seen a bass tournament take off. And it was an evening time tournament. They have one. They still have it. They'll have it tomorrow. I'll probably fish it tomorrow on Tuesday evenings at 5 o'clock. And they blast off. And I remember being out there with him, and I seen them blast off. And I seen 25 boats just running down the lake, racing. And I'm just like, what is going on? And then my dad explains to me, I don't know, I was 8, 9 years old, however old I was, you know, where I can remember it. And I seen it. And from then on, I've just loved tournament bass fishing. And then, like I said, I fish those. I fish those all the time at night. They have them on Saturday mornings. I fish these small pot tournaments, 10 boats, 15 boats. Whenever I was home last fall after the season, I fished like 3 of them a week. I fish a ton. I mean, there'd be 10 boats in them, 20 boats in them, and I'm not knocking that. I have some of the most fun because I get to go with a buddy of mine. You know, a lot of my buddies, my little brother, whoever, we're just chilling. We're catching them. It's that is what bass fishing is. It's hanging out with your fans. I mean, you're not fans, your family and your friends, and having a good time and catching fish. And if you like fishing tournaments, that's fun too. But I started fishing those, and then I actually started a high school bass fishing team at my high school. I was, you know, me and one of my best friends started it whenever we were in 9th grade or 10th grade or whatever it was. We fished those, fished the high school fishing team, went to the state championship, all that type of stuff. And then a family friend of mine asked me if I wanted to join a bass club. I did join that bass club, and that was really my first experience of consistently fishing new bodies of water. So I live in Alabama, very blessed to live in this area. We've got the Coosa River, which has 5 or 6 lakes on it that are phenomenal. The Chattahoochee, the Tallapoosa River. We've just got all these rivers that have multiple lakes on them within like an hour and a half of my house. So I'm super blessed. But fishing with him was kind of the first time that I got to branch out and consistently fish these new bodies of water. And then from there, kept fishing clubs, fishing bigger clubs. I fished the Alabama Bass Trail for a while, fished the BFLs. And then whenever you feel like you're ready, the only thing left to do is fish the opens and try to qualify for the elites. Now, I spent a year doing that, qualified for the elites. And, you know, but for very early on, it was not that I had like a specific direction. I knew I wanted to be a pro. I wanted to fish the BFLs because you have an opportunity to go to the All-American. And I made it to the All-American once, and that's a huge opportunity. You win that. Is awesome. You win $100,000. You get to go to the pro circuit. All that type of stuff comes with it. So all that type of stuff, I always want to fish tournaments where if things lined up perfectly, you would have a chance to go pro. Even if it started just a BFL tournament, somebody's going to go pro that year from fishing the BFLs. So that was always kind of my goal and stuff like that. And then I just fished as many tournaments as I possibly could. It didn't matter if it was 10 boats or 200 boats, fished the biggest ones around, whatever. And I got my butt whooped a lot. Like that's just going to happen. I still get my butt whooped a lot. And then I fished the opens and, like I said, qualified for the elites. And it doesn't matter what you do before getting to the opens. If you're in college, fishing local, or you've never fished before, when you get to the opens, that's how you get to the pros. You have to get there and then qualify for the elites. And, you know, that's like the end boss of it all. Not the end boss because you still got to make it on the elites, but that's just what has to happen at some point if you want to get to the elite series.
Yeah. Now, like I said, when I met Kyle, we hit it off. I think we sat there and talked. Shout out to Third Eye Fishing, one of my sponsors, in front of their booth. I was not doing my job for them.
Well, I might have bought a pack. I don't know.
Yeah, he might have. So, but we were standing there. I think we stood there and talked for about 2.5 hours, just BSing. And Kyle kind of looked at me and he's like, "Why don't you fish in the opens?" And I was like, "Well, I kind of got an old boat, but things might be happening. We're gonna talk about that right now. We got to keep that a little bit top secret." But he kind of was like, I was kind of like, why ain't I fishing the open? So I might actually do it. I don't know if it'll be next year. I got to get mind and body in shape first, because right now, body is like, after about 2 days on the water, I'm like, oh, this hurts. so I got to get a little, I got a weight room right over here.
There you go.
So I need to actually get in that thing and get weight off of me. But I don't know. He really inspired me. We had a great conversation. I told him, I said, "Man," I said, "you could be my little brother that just catches fish better than me." So He's just a good dude, man. I'm a big fan of him. And here's one. We're gonna drag the better half into it now. So Mr. Jones wants to hear the thoughts on Miss Hunter dive bombing off the boat for the camera that time. He wants to hear a story about this, apparently.
So to be a professional at anything and to travel as much as we do, you have to be 100% committed. And that just shows Hunter is also 100% committed to the greater cause. So here's the backstory on that. We actually bought a warranty on that camera, and the warranty covered everything. You could drop it off your car, you could throw it in the water, anything, and get a free replacement as long as you have the camera. And them cameras ain't cheap. And as soon as it went in the water, there was no hesitation. I didn't even really know what exactly was happening yet. And I look back, and luckily she had her striker suit on, so it will float. But I look back, and she was off the boat, jumping in the water, grabbed the camera, put it back in there. I mean, she looked like Crocodile Hunter in midair about to run. And she got it, though. She got the camera.
Hey,
so
bravo.
we got us a new one. It all worked out good. But I'm just going to say one thing. She is committed. As committed as I am, for sure.
Committed.
And that proved it.
Committed. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, here we go. Color question. Dude, and by the way, the dude was throwing a gray wacky worm at the Classic. Curious why he was throwing gray. That is a good question.
So I've got a couple different answers for that. Number one is I don't believe color matters hardly at all. Like I
wow. Now, I'm kind of like Gerald Swindell with his jigs, except I got more than two. I got 5. Yeah. But there's certain situations for the other 3.
You're right.
But and that's pretty much worms and anything else. So wow. Color. So I want to hear expand.
If you're going to say like something super bright, like if you're going to throw a methylate worm, or if you're going to throw a green pumpkin. Now, yeah, I do believe that fish will react to those differently. But like a green pumpkin purple, or a green pumpkin magic, or a tilapia, I don't think you're going to get one more bite on any of those colors. And the gray worm, I had threw a green pumpkin one, a red one, moon dust or something it's called. I had just like, if I skip a worm around for like 2 hours and don't get a bite, I'll just change the color because I'm tired of looking at the one skip across the water. So I had actually never threw that color worm before in my entire life. And I hadn't had any bites on a wacky rig that whole time either. So I just threw a pack up in the boat, and I was looking at it the morning of the tournament. I was like, man, I ain't threw this color yet. And I put it on, and I was like, maybe it looks more like a shad. Maybe, I don't know. I really don't. I think I would have caught the same fish on green pumpkin like I truly did. But I just had that pack in the boat. I'd never thrown it before, and I just put it on, and I was like, I'll go skip this sucker around. I think the reason I caught him on that final day is, like I said, there was a lot of pollen in the water, and the fish had visibly moved shallower. Yeah. You could tell just by fishing around. The fish had definitely moved shallower. And I think that's why I caught him. But the gray worm is what I caught him on. There was really no super high thought process to it. I had just put the green pumpkin until I was tired of looking at it, and I put on a different color.
All right. So now we get a lot of this or that questions. And from AA Fishing, he wants to know this or that, if you had to choose one, a swim bait or a jerk bait. I know that's tough for me because them are probably 2 of my favorite baits, period.
Well, this is not a fair one, okay? AA Fishing, this is not a fair one because swim bait is a category about this big and jerk bait is a category about this big. So if I have to pick between these two, I'm going to say a swim bait. But if you narrowed it down to one swim bait or one jerk bait, then I would probably pick the jerk bait. But a swim bait's a very large category, and I'm going to have to take that whole category over the jerk bait because swim baits will catch them.
The egg on right.
And I use them as a trailer.
All kinds of stuff. So, I tell people all the time, and by the way, guys, I do want to say, sorry to interrupt, but I do want to say, we're up to 100 in the room right now. Guys, make sure you go hit that like button. Make sure you go check out. Shout out all your social media, especially your YouTube channel. Now, if you go subscribe to Kyle right now, make sure you come back because we're still talking.
You can wait till after.
Yeah. It's just Kyle Welcher Fishing, right?
Just Kyle Welcher.
Oh, yep. Okay. There you go. And so, guys, I do want to say this is the moment in the show where I am going to tell you we're going to do a giveaway a little bit later. We are going to give away one of my favorite Spros right here for this time of year.
Spring crawl.
Norris Lake. Yes, sir. I love this out on Norris. We're going to give away a Cumberland buzz bait because everybody knows I like a good buzz. And we're going to give away a Jinko color. Again, another good color, a brown to chartreuse side. We're going to give away some Rage Tail Great Menace right here. This is something that I love on this, actually, and it'll pair up very nicely. You turn it sideways and it so you like my sound effects there, Kyle?
I do.
And so now this is something I'm going to unveil to my buddy Kyle here. Don't fish it around cover, but you know, when you own these highlands, these Tennessee lakes, the Sakushi bug by 10,000 Fish in the Alabama crawl. This sucker has paid off for me for bed fishing smallmouth and even largemouth because, you know, it mimics a crawl without the pictures on it.
Right.
And this thing has been a top secret, and it's kind of that, you know, stretchy plastic stuff. But we'll give all this stuff away to one winner at the end of the show. We always do a little giveaway, Mr. Welcher. So sorry to interrupt you there. That was part that I left out, but we're gonna get back into taking some more comments. Bass Hunter, does Kyle use backing on his reels?
So the first thing I got to say is I would like to extract that sound effect and use that as my text tone. That'd be a good one right there. Every time I got a text.
You can only use it when I call.
Right, yeah. Every time you call or text, that'd be the noise. I'm like, oh, I ain't answering that one. So back it on my reels. This is where I get extremely technical. I don't get technical when it comes to colors or stuff like that, but I get extremely technical when it comes to rods, reels, hooks, weights, you know, the hook gap on jigs, the line tie, the skirt. I get extremely technical on all that. I do use backing on my reels, and I use exclusively braid backing. And nobody does that, but I use braid backing because braid is lighter than fluorocarbon. And what that does is it gives you a lighter spool, and when you have a lighter spool, it's easier to skip, and skipping's a big part of my game. And so basically, if you have a heavier spool, when you cast, that spool has more momentum. That means it's harder to slow it down, and you're going to have more overruns. And whenever you're skipping, that bait is consistently slowing down as it skips across the water. So I use braid backing on almost all of my reels. I do. Now,
that is one thing I will say, guys. This is another reason why you need to make sure you follow him. He is a detail-oriented cat. Or dude. I should say dude. We don't want to confuse everybody. He's a detail-oriented dude. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is very detailed. One of the reasons why I watch him, you know, for sure. And you know, like I said, he's kind of funny too. So, you know, I get a good kick out of him every once in a while.
Right.
Let's see. Now, here's a buddy of mine down in South Carolina. I always say North Kakalaki, but I throw in South Kakalaki. I don't know if it works. It may not be, but this is my buddy Joey. I actually fished the first time I ever got to fish. It was the weekend before Thanksgiving. I actually got to fish Hartwell. It's the first time I ever got to fish it. Was with Joey. I went down there and spent the weekend with him. And he said, Hank, ask Kyle, does he still make his own rods? Do you still now you were 13 now, right? So
yep.
you're probably maybe making one or two rods here and there.
Well, but, now I'm designing rods, but I'm not actually building rods. And I'm not really designing rods, but I'm helping put my input on rods and stuff like that, playing with prototypes, all that type of stuff. And I would say I am designing some that you might see at some point. But no, I don't make rods anymore. I made some fantastic rods just with the supply chain shortages. Like, it's been very hard to get materials for a long time. Who've been sold out. Everybody wants those rods. I made some, like, those rods were phenomenal. There was absolutely nothing against them or anything like that. I just didn't see it being like 10 years down the road. I couldn't imagine me still making 40 or 50 rods to fish with every year. So, yeah, but, I mean, they were a phenomenal product. And if I didn't have to have such high turnover in the rods that I was fishing with every single year, then it would have been a little bit easier for me. But no, I do not still make the rods. I'm with 13 now. I'm still using the Fuji rod components on all the stuff that is 13 has, especially their high-end stuff, but I don't make my own rods anymore. And I do miss it because I really enjoyed making the rods, but it was always a little bit stressful whenever I was like going to Florida and I needed to make like 12 or 15 this week.
We froze up again. There we go.
Cut out or what, but I had a phone call. It was always stressful whenever, you know, you got to make like 12 or 15 rods and you're waiting on one little part and the part comes in. It's like, I got to build all these before I leave to go to Florida next week. So that part is kind of stressful and I'm glad I don't have to do that. But I really like in my downtime to build rods. So like it was fun. I took a lot of pride in the ones that I built. So I may dabble in that again whenever I get bored this fall. We'll see. Just for fun.
All right. Now listen, Kyle, I'm going to introduce you to the only guy that I've ever known that is over the age.
I don't got you.
Oh,
I can't hear you.
Lost me. All right. Tell me if you got me. If you have to. You good? We back? You got me? All right, here. Hold on. Let's see. Like I said, we've had technical difficulties.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine.
I can hear you now. Good.
Okay, you got me?
This is what happens when you try to take a fisherman from Alabama and do a podcast. We're just, we don't know what's going on.
See, he just needs to go ahead, hire BassGeek to travel around with him. Right. Go ahead and handle all this technical stuff.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I'd probably get way better content. My cameras would last all day, all that type of stuff.
I always tell people all the time I can make way better videos for other people than I can make for myself because, you know, my cameraman, he's on a pole in the back of my boat all the time, so he's not moving around a whole lot.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I got to find this because
now it seems way better though. Like I can hear you super good. Everything seems good now. So
I don't know what's causing it, but that's all right, man. Don't fret. We'll get you in. We'll get you out. That happens. Okay. So keep or cull biscuits and gravy. Do you keeping them or you tossing them overboard?
I don't eat biscuits.
Oh my God!
Now
I found
look,
the second guy.
I love biscuits, but I don't eat. I love biscuits and gravy, but I try to not eat any bread.
No bread. I got you. Okay,
I try to eat no carbs, no potatoes. Gotcha. I try to be healthy, but they good now. I ain't saying
okay. That's all we're looking for right there. Yeah. So Tackle Junkie 81, I'm sure you know him. He's one of the OG YouTuber. OGs. That's right. Yep. The man has never even tried biscuits and gravy.
Where's he from?
He's from Indiana or Illinois. Illinois, I believe. Which explains
a
whole lot.
Stuff together up there.
Explains a whole lot. Man.
They better get it together.
Hey, Mid-South said, awesome show. We appreciate it, sir. All right, we're going to get down there. Hashtag girth. We know it. Yeah. Oh, let's see.
That's what your boat wrap should say when you fish the opens. Hashtag girth and put it in pink letters on a black boat wrap. Hashtag girth.
They won't allow me to have beverages, adult beverages out there. Though. So I can't, every time somebody's like, girth, I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
What's your favorite cold water crankbait?
It's laying on your desk right there.
Yeah.
That's Pro Little John. That dude is the deal. My buddy John Cruz designed that, and he knocked it out the park. And that color right there, there's in the water at all. And I don't know what it is about spotted bass and smallmouth, but that is smallmouth and spotted bass crack right there. That color catches on. I don't know why it's so good, but it is.
That's North Lake down them flats when it gets muddy, a little bit muddy. Get on them clay flats and just sing it out there.
Smallmouth, crush
Good time. Yep. Good time. All right. Let's see what else we got. Man, I really do appreciate you being on tonight. I am a huge fan and have been for a long time. I'm super glad we finally got to meet. That was just awesome and crazy. If anybody knows, I mean, everybody always says to me, Hank, man, you just seem like a real guy. I'm like, dude, I'm 48-year-old. I'm way too damn old to change at this point.
Right.
What you see is what you get. That's right. Yeah. I grew up in a small town. I'm just, I'm like you. I'm a dude, man. We're just
Yep.
dudes.
That's what's cool about fishing. Is like anybody can do it. You don't have to be like some extremely special person to be a fisherman. Like anybody can do it. You just have to have the same passion that we all have, and that's what makes us all, have something in common. We can all get along with that. It's not like basketball where you have to be like LeBron James status to be one of the best in the world at it. Like everybody just can't do that. Like you just can't physically do what he can do. So that's the cool thing about fishing.
Now I will say this, and Kyle's got it right. Now, guys, listen, when you're out there and you're putting the time on the water that he's putting in, over the past few years, I've got the old desk job. I ate a lot of, McGriddles and stuff in the morning. Drink a lot of
gravy.
Drink a lot of biscuits and gravy. Drink a lot of soda. I mean, it does matter. Now, conditioning does matter. It really does matter. You can't be out there on the boat on day 4, thinking, God, my back's killing me. My fat ass needs to eat fewer.
Well, the way that I look at fishing is it's an infinite string of small decisions. And those small decisions have a big impact at the end of the day. So if you're a little bit more tired, you're not as sharp as you should be, you haven't been exercising, you haven't been eating healthy, you're just going to consistently make more bad decisions than you otherwise would if you were healthy and eating good and, on top of the game. And I'm not saying everybody has to do that. You absolutely don't. But there's people out there that kick my butt constantly eating biscuits and gravy and donuts and all that type of stuff. But
we won't name those guys, but I have talked to several of them.
But for me, I know I do better and make better decisions when I'm exercising and eating healthy. So that's what I want to do, and I'm committed to it. But yeah, I mean, it is conditioning, but it's also mental conditioning because it's a lot of small decisions. And then when you get physically tired, you make worse decisions. You just do.
Yeah, you do. And if you're, to me, if you're not exercising, and to me, physical exercise helps your mental state, your clearness, because I know for a fact right now, I'm not exercising the way I should. I'm not eating the way I should, and I can tell, at times there's just a cloud, and I know that
brain fog.
Yeah, brain fog.
Yep.
Now, Dustin S. actually says, is there anything you do to mentally prepare for a big tournament? Like stay calm, try not to overthink everything. Is there something that you kind of do, say the night before? Because, I know 90% of everybody can't sleep the night before it kicks off. But is there something to kind of, do you stay focused on the tournament the night before? Do you really kind of do your homework? Or at some point, are you like, okay, we're setting this aside. We've done what we can do. We just got to go fishing tomorrow.
So what is it? This comes down to confidence. And this is, so I have a different approach than a lot of people. Like I said earlier, I'm extremely technical when it comes to hooks, line, rods, reels, all that type of stuff. And I try to be as prepared as I possibly can. I want to know that this hook that I have in this bait is the best possible hook. Attached to this line is the best line for this application. So whenever I do lose one, I don't second guess anything. I'm just saying, hey, if I catch 20 fish today, I'm probably going to lose 1 or 2 of them. That's just the fact of the matter. You're not going to land 100% of fish. You're going to lose a couple. But I don't want to lose more and say, man, maybe it's that hook, because I want to actually understand why this hook's the best. That's why I get so technical about that type of stuff and not color, because I don't, that doesn't really, I don't believe it helps you catch more fish, but the right hook helps you land more. So I like to be as prepared as possible with all that stuff, all the technical stuff that I can. And then as far as a tournament, the way that I don't overthink things, and sometimes I still do, you just do, I only plan one spot. I plan where I'm going to start. And then from there, it is a complete open book. I try to fish the conditions.
Wow.
Now,
man, smart.
When I get in trouble is whenever I have a really good practice and I shook off a bunch of fish. And then I go to my starting area and I don't catch anything. I run to where I shook one off. I don't get a bite. I run to another area where I shook one off. I don't get a bite. And then by the end, it's like 11 o'clock and you didn't catch them because you're running history. And even though it was only 2 or 3 days ago, it's still history, because now the wind's blowing a different direction. Now it's cloudy. Now the pollen's falling and they're trying to spawn. So things change so fast, especially in the spring. Now in the summer, in the summer they stay put a little bit better. You can actually have more of a milk run, but in the spring you have to fish the conditions. So I plan for one spot only, and then I try to be as technically prepared as I possibly can. And then I talk to people all the time, and they're like, man, I'm losing them, and like they're just super scared of losing fish. They're like, man, I'll have a good tournament if everything goes right. And I never say that. I say I'll have a good tournament if I make the best decisions I could possibly make.
Yeah.
And I try to focus on that. If I lose one, yeah, I just lose one. If I break one off, I just break one off. It's going to happen at some point. I just focus on making the best decisions I have with the info I have. And fishing's a game of incomplete information. You're not going to make the perfect decisions.
Yeah.
You can't get off the water, look at the tournament results, and then say, hey, I should have made this different decision. No, because you had a bite on a brush pile in 10 foot of water. So you should have ran another brush pile in 10 foot of water. Just because he caught them somewhere else doing somewhere different, you didn't even know that was going on. So you couldn't have made that decision. Yeah. So you can only judge yourself based on the incomplete information you have and the decisions you make. So that's kind of the way that I think about tournament fishing. And I'm just as prepared as possible, and I think that helps.
So here's a good question from me. And I don't know how prevalent it is at the Elite Series, but you fished a lot of series below that. Dock talk. So what are you, and I know we all have a certain group, right? We all have our group where we feel, but even when we're competing against them, they're my group, but how much do you put on that? And how much do you just say, no, I'm doing what I do? There you go. I agree.
And that's the way to do it. Now, I'll tell you this. There's some guys on the Elites, now that I've gotten to know them.
Yeah.
And if they tell you they are absolutely, like you ask them, man, you had any bites on a frog? They'll say, no, I ain't had a bite on it all week. You might as well tie that sucker on. Now, there are some people. There's some people that's like that. But for the most part, I do zero, because if I tell you, hey, I caught them flipping a jig on laydowns, okay, that don't really help you that much, because there's 2 million laydowns, and I might have caught them on a 2 foot deep laydown with current hitting it, but I didn't tell you that part. Half info hurts more than it helps. If you can't understand 100% of where that bite came from, half info is going to hurt you. So I just don't try to do it at all. 100%, ignore it, do your own deal, do what you understand. That's what I try to do. And I don't always do it, but that's what I try to do.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I found myself in more trouble listening, even if it's quality information. I know the old saying is you can't catch another man's fish, which is BS, truthfully. To a certain extent.
Right.
To a certain extent. There's truth and falsities to that. But I always feel like I'm more comfortable, like I'm better, and even if I mess up, I have a better opportunity just fishing what I think's going on and trusting in my mind and my gut to go out there and do what I can do. And that's something that I've really learned over the past several years of fishing BFLs and really kind of seen that in the Morristown Marine Team Trail last year that I fished that. That was,
because you truly understand what's going on. Whenever you're doing your deal, you truly understand. So you know when it's time to make an adjustment. When you're fishing somebody else's fish, you don't really understand exactly what's going on. So you don't know when something's not going correctly or whenever there has potential. So I agree 100%.
Yeah. Money Bass. Hey, man, I want to say a big shout out to Money Bass, by the way. Y'all go check out his YouTube channel. Forgive me, I am just getting over a head cold, so I might snort and sneeze and cough a little bit. But I ain't dying yet, so we're going to keep going. 2 questions for you. And thanks for the $5 donation, Money Bass. I appreciate the heck out of that. When are you going to hit Lake Lanier again? I don't know. Good seeing you. What are your thoughts on the Mega Live 1.150 update? I'm discussing it tomorrow. So the 2 questions is, when you're going to hit Lanier again? And what do you think about the new update?
So I don't have Mega Live. I have the Garmin. Do you have Mega Live?
I don't. Right now, I'm an idiot. I don't have anything, but I'm in also that's kind of communications. I was going to upgrade everything, but after talking to you, you motivated me. And like I said, I'm juggling right now. I'm juggling because what's funny about it is and I'm sorry, guys, this is a kind of an inside conversation we're going to have. So we're going to hint around things. I can't do anything about it. But when all that happened, it was really the worst time of the year for it to happen, right? Because everybody's already, you know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of having to wait till the end of the year.
June.
Yes, June.
Revisit in June. But anyway,
exactly.
So I went to Lake Lanier for a couple of days before the Classic, and I seen Money Bass there. I've actually seen him at a couple small little local lakes in the area. I've seen him quite a few times now. But the day after I seen him, we went out there and smacked him.
Is that where the picture of
the big spot, 2 5-pound spots?
Yeah.
I mean, we smacked them that day, caught them good. But anyways, I want to go back up there pretty soon, actually, because it was pretty dang fun. I want to go up there and bedfish for some of them big spots, actually. I don't know if they all spawn out too deep to really see them well, even though I know you can see down 10, 12 feet there. No problem. I've heard those spots spawn in like 18 to 20 over there a good bit of the time. I want to catch them about that deep and then be like 5 pounds. So that's what I want to happen. So I really probably will go back up there in the next couple of weeks, honestly, because that was really, really fun. But the Mega Live 1.150 update, I haven't used the Mega 5. I know some of the Mega Live, I know some of the Humminbird guys on tour have said that it helped a ton. I don't know what kind of update they had, but something they did. Now they're seeing their jerkbait and their baits at like 65 or 70 feet, even with the Humminbird. And that's kind of what I'm getting out of the Garmin that I use. And I'm sponsored by Garmin or any of them. But I still have not updated my Garmin because I have been told 2 or 3 things. I've heard people say, look, it looks really good. It looks supposedly it looks really good. And then the new transducer supposedly looks really good. Haven't really played with any of those. I have used an updated Garmin a little bit. I have used one, and it did look really good, really clear. But I haven't done it to mine yet. Just want to make sure. It's going to be on the open up.
I'm a computer geek, and my buddy Joey that's in here right now, he'll be the first to tell you. I always advise against doing it immediately. Let everybody else have the problems. Let them figure it out. Give it 2-3 months, and then, once they get it kind of – because what will end up happening is they'll have, update 2.0, and then 3 months later it'll be 2.001.
And then 2.001 is only fixed in 2.00.
Yeah. So being a computer guy, and being a computer guy that deals with, enterprise level, big time networks, we never go bleeding edge. Because bleeding edge, they call it bleeding edge because somebody always ends up bloodied.
Well, so, if I have multiple weeks off in a row, that's when I like to try out the new stuff.
There you go.
Like I'll try it out then where I can actually, I think you can at least go back to the older software.
Yeah.
So if I have a couple weeks off, but I'm not going to do that right before going into a tournament because then I'm going to be messing around with it in practice, and I'm not going to do that then. I'll wait till I got more time.
So now, what tournament are you most looking forward to the rest of this season?
What do we have left? We have Chick.
See, I thought that was going to be a hands down one, Chick. I was like, but where are you going?
Well, go Chick, love Chick, but Chick don't fish that good. Like it just, I'm sorry,
a lot of pressure, guys. Man. It's a lot of pressure.
And when they draw it's not a big lake. Like it's not a big lake for the Tennessee River. It's not a big lake for 200 boats a day.
There's a reason why Van Dam and Iaconelli about got in a fist fight.
It's not you're not part of the community.
That's right.
Well, anyways, it's a small lake and it gets a lot of pressure. It's not that fun to fish. It's okay. Like if we was going there in like June or July or August, I'd be a lot more all in on it. But
in the middle of the week, just for fun fishing.
Like on a Wednesday, you can catch them over there.
Yes, it's great.
On Saturday, that's a little bit tougher.
Stay off the water.
I would say the one I was looking forward to the most was Santee. Now we'll just roll it on into Chick and say we'll have a good time over there.
There we go.
Because we got smallmouth after that, and smallmouth are okay.
You're gonna have to come up here, man, because like my what I consider my true home lake is South Holston. So I don't know how much you've ever fished it.
No, never.
But we need to find a gap one year in your schedule where I can get you up here in April, right around the full moon, 3 days before. you know, and as long as we don't have any sort of crazy rains, and you know, because like the past 2 years, I've been out there catching them in like, you know, 6-8 foot of water, dink-a-linking a little worm around, as we call it. We call it. You ever hear anybody talk about a little green worm bite where I live? That means they're on the beds because you can't see them.
You use a shaky head and like a 4.5-inch worm.
Well, Berkeley used to make this little straight tail worm, and they've stopped making them now. A couple of local guys actually make them, and so you can Texas rig them. That's one of the ways I catch them. But 90% of the time, to be honest with you, and what's so funny about that is like it's this from like the mid lake down to the main lake, so it's a Ned rig, and I'll actually use the long shank mushroom head, so it comes almost all the way to the end. Because I'm telling you, man, bass ain't smart, but they ain't dumb either.
Right.
And when they see so many of them baits go by, they know where that hook shank comes in after a minute, and they'll pick it up by the tail, and you're like, "Oh my god!" And then they just let it go.
Especially smallmouth and spots.
Yes.
Largemouth have more of a vacuum where if they open their mouth, they suck it in.
Yes.
Them spots and smallmouth peck at that stuff.
Giving away all my tips as we're getting closer to this. I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah, they're about to be biting it.
Yeah, and so now, but from that side up, like I like to throw a like a flick shake, like it needs to be a weighted wacky worm because again they're down so deep. But man, you want to have a good time? Really? You need if we can find a gap one day, you just come up here with me. I mean, you're talking about like 8-pound test line, spinning gear, and you're just flicking it over there, and all of a sudden you're catching 3s, 4s, 5s, and if you get lucky, a 6. And I mean, dude, look, it takes 20 plus pounds in April of smallmouth to win a tournament on this lake. I mean,
smallmouth win year round there.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I mean, I've got a video on an A rig. God, I'm about to tell you more stuff live. I got an A rig video, and what most people don't know is that right as the smallmouth are really pulling up on the bed, the largemouth are starting, and you can take an A rig. Yeah, you take an A rig with this little color right here. It's called sour grape. Electric blue chartreuse, but that one's just a little bit different by a local guy. And and man, I got a video out there. If you get free time, go watch it.
Right.
It's fun. But so there's quite a few bites going on at the same time, and it's fun. I need to get you up here. You've
been doing YouTube for quite a while now.
6 years, man.
You're supposed to not publicize this stuff until the bite's over. Like
I didn't say I was smart.
You're supposed to talk about the April bite in May, the May bite in June, the June bite in July. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Listen, and everybody forgets it before the following year.
That's true, but you know, I just let her hang out. It's just I'll put it to you. Yeah, I'll put it to you. I'm that guy that as I was fishing the Morristown Marine last year, it was a bunch of us that stayed together in the house. They knew they was getting good information from me because I'd just be like, look, man, here it is. It's like blah, 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 blah. Yeah. You know, we was never on anything great, so it wasn't helping him out anyway last year. It was an awful year for me. But I was like, look, dude, I was like, if I lie to you, you're going to know about it anyway.
It's on film, yeah.
Yeah.
You make yourself look guilty. There's a question. So he says, weird question, but how do fishing licenses work for the elites? It's the same way as any other person. We just have to buy a fishing license when we get into town, you know, and if I know I'm going to a place for 2 tournaments, I'll buy a yearly one. If not, I might buy a weekly one, but I just have to buy them myself, you know, just like everybody else. I'm just a dude. Just a dude. That's I'm going to tell Dave Mercer, that's going to be my nickname. Kyle, just a dude Welcher.
Only if he shouts out BassGeek, and you got to tell me when it's going to happen, because I'm going to be watching like Dave Mercer just said my name. I might cry. I'm not going to film it. I won't confirm nor deny it happened, but it's possible. Allegedly, you cry. That's right. Jesse, man, I appreciate you. He is a big subscriber to the channel. I appreciate the $9.99, man. It helps out a ton. You guys know it just helps me buy more baits so I can talk about more baits and give you what I think about those baits 99.9% of the time. Now, listen, guys, we are 59 minutes in. I know Kyle's got a lot to do. He just got home from Santee. So I don't want to keep him much longer. We're going to take
a couple more.
We'll take a couple more questions. And if you see any, Kyle, of course, as always, man, make sure you look them up, because I'm kind of lost now as to where I was.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of good questions tonight, guys, and I appreciate the heck out of you. We're at 151. I know we was at like 192 people in here at one point in time.
We must have said something wrong. We lost 40. We lost 25%. We lost, what's going on?
Well, I told you I'm not a fashion guy. So they come in and they see me and they're like, I got this. I've looked at this guy way long enough.
I think we went way too long without saying girth. I think that was
hey!
It has to be every 15 minutes or people are leaving, I believe.
That's true. We're not giving them the desired,
what they came for.
Yeah, the desired buzz bait.
That's funny too. Like the buzz bait bite's going to be happening in like 3 weeks. So
yeah, I know, man.
Go ahead and put that out there also.
Have you ever seen my Demiki rig videos? If you ain't, it's fine. Okay, yeah, so like 2-3 years ago, man, I was just learning how to Demiki rig. Yeah, God, it's probably longer than that, 3-4 years ago. So I get out on South Holston and I'm learning it. I'm out there graphing this lake, man, really trying to figure it out. And man, I get out there and bust almost a 20-pound bag of smallmouth on the first time, like the first time I've ever done it, right?
Right.
And so now, you know, you can see every spot that I'm on. You couldn't get those fish to bite if you had a live minnow down there right now.
It's interesting. I think about this also too, because I've been fishing the same lakes for a long time, like you have South Holston. It's crazy how when a new technique comes out, how you see a different part of the lake.
Yes.
That you didn't even, like you've been fishing this lake for years and you've been driving over this hole that had 20 pounds on it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And never dropped to them. I do that too. Like
I tell you, man. And what's weird is, you know, we hear you guys talk about timing a whole lot, and that's something that, you know, like I like to fish deep, so timing matters a lot.
A lot, yeah.
About when you hit that certain hole or that certain point. Oh, excuse me. But, you know, it matters. And, you know, I'm a big summer guy because it's consistent, and I'm a big winter guy because it's consistent. Right. You know, summer and winter are the same things, really. It's just, you know, but so, you know, I get out there and I've got this one spot, and so help me God, it ain't no good till 3 o'clock. And I mean, it's that way every single winter, 3 o'clock on the nose. I mean, I will literally sit there and watch the time, and I'll be like, well, you know, it's getting ready to get dark. I need to make sure I'm near this hole. 3 o'clock. And you get out there at 3 o'clock and you get out there over top of them. And I mean, the first time I found it, it was like just a hand coming up. You just see the lines, and it was like, whoa. You can literally see me step off the trolling motor and to the side and just wait to set the hook. Because, I mean, you knew they were coming. And it's like that every time if you get there at the right time of year. Oh, anyway, God, I could just talk fishing all day, man. I love it.
I'd be begging all the tournament directors to let you weigh in at 4. Like, can we do a 4 o'clock check-in instead of 3?
Yeah, yeah. The good thing about it is it's literally right around the corner from like where the most tournaments launch on that lake.
Right.
So,
well, don't get too specific now.
Trust me, if you know, trust me, they done know. They done know. All right, let's see. Was one flight with your brother in 2000?
He's asking me about my brother.
Was your brother in the military?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I guess this.
Yeah, I mean, he says I don't know if he said I was on flight with your brother. I guess he means he was on a flight with my brother in 2019. Were you concerned with him flying? I mean, you're always worried about your family when they're fighting. Everybody, but that's what he wants to do. He really feels at home in that environment, and that's how those people, are that want to go in the military, and they have that desire to, help us. And there they are, they're protecting us, and they're doing everything they can for us, and that's what he wants to do. It makes him feel like he has a purpose doing that, and it makes him, he likes it. So I'm happy that he's doing it, and he's getting, what he wants out of it. But yeah, I'm definitely worried about him and concerned, worried about him right now. That's just how it is. We're always worried about those types of people, and we're praying for them and hoping that everything works out. And I'm also happy that he gets to do what he wants to do, because it is. I mean, that is what he wants to do, and I'm proud of him, though. I'm proud of him too for doing that.
Yeah, we appreciate all of the service members, because they allow us, even the first responders, I was in a tournament last year where there was a boat accident, and, they were able to save one of the guys' lives. But, first responders, military service members, man, we appreciate all of you, because we couldn't do this. We couldn't do this without you guys making it possible. So,
because there's some countries that don't have unlimited access like we have, because they don't have the protection that we have from everybody else. But another question that the same guy said was, keep doing what I do, and Jordan might make a shoe for me. So I have some fishing shoes that are some Jordan, and they're actually discontinued. Like, I wish I could find another pair. They're like the most comfortable pair of shoes I've ever worn in my life, and I cannot find any more of them. So
me and Kyle's exactly start a business venture.
I need Jordan to let me make a shoe. I get a little contingency off of it, or commission, whatever you want to call it, royalty, and I'll bring that exact same shoe back out.
So, what's your favorite confidence bait? And we know the color don't matter. So, what's your favorite confidence bait?
So, if I'm in a tournament, I like flipping. I like as far as confidence in a tournament, I want to be flipping something. I'm going to be running heavy cover, flipping docks, something like that. And it's usually going to be with some kind of a creature bait, like the 13 Fishing Invader. I've been using that for 6 or 8 months now, flipping that around. And the color is green pumpkin. Green pumpkin catches them all the time. If it's stained up, I use black and blue. That's about it. But the confidence for me is how efficiently I can fish the cover. That's what gives me the confidence.
There we go. The amateur angler. That's right, baby. Favorite 2 YouTubers on the show. All right.
I appreciate that. We both do.
Yeah, we both do. Very much. All right. So that actually, when you say flipping, because I love to flip, I'm East Tennessee. I'm from here down to Knoxville. So I know the Tennessee River. We flipping. So when do you prefer a soft plastic over a jig? Because, old school, I was jig. And over the past really about the same time I started doing YouTube, I started getting a little more into the more soft plastic sort of flipping deal. Seems like it produces a little better at times.
So for me, a jig is better November to March. I like to flip a jig that time of year. And then there's a specific time in the postbone where they get on the bluegill really good, and I'll flip a jig again. But for the most part, from about April until October, I flip a creature bait, and that's for multiple different reasons. One thing is our water just clears up. It just does. And a creature bait's a little bit more natural, even though it don't look like anything that's real. It is a little bit more natural than like a jig. So I do like to flip to just put it as generally as I possibly can. November to March, flipping a jig. The rest of the year, usually flipping a creature bait. But a jig catches bigger fish. I do believe that.
Listen, number one, Joseph, I ain't misspelling the questions. That's you guys. But trust me, I can't spell. I'm a math guy. I'm a math guy. And if I was spelling them, I promise you, they would be misspelled.
He said, first of all, y'all misspelling that, not me.
Joseph's a good guy, man. I know him. I had to give him a little bit right there. All right. So chatterbaits or spinnerbaits? What do you like best?
Now, for a long time, I was chatterbait only. But I feel like in the past couple years, the spinnerbait's making a comeback. And I think it's because everybody that's fishing from the bank, kayak, bass boat, or pontoon boats throwing a chatterbait.
Throwing them bladed jigs. Everybody.
So spinnerbait making a little comeback. So the last couple years, I've weighed in more on the spinnerbait than chatterbait, I believe.
Yeah. Now I've got a spinnerbait. You know, I'm old, right? So old I fart dust. You know, how old are you? Do you mind me asking how old you are, Kyle?
28, 29. Just turned 29.
Oh, he's a cub. He's still a cub. He's a damn good cub, but he's a cub compared to me. I'm like I said, I'll be April the 9th. I will be. I don't know. It's either 47 or 48. I think it's 48. But the thing of it is like that's kind of as old as I am. I mean, you figure I've been fishing since I was probably, like you said, around 8. So, spinnerbaits, jigs, Texas rig worms. That was, that's all we had back then.
Yeah, it was. The spinnerbait was king.
The spinnerbait was king. So, I've kind of got a whole, deal. When do you ever like painted blades on a spinnerbait? When do you like painted blades? I'm big on the painted blades at certain times.
I have had really good experience with it. I've caught them really good on it. But if you had told me I could only have one spinnerbait, it would not have painted blades. But there are times, and it's usually pre-spawn, where they eat them painted blades like they have like they've been raised in a farm pond. Like that's how they act sometimes to them painted blades. Now, it's rare, but sometimes them painted blades can absolutely outfish your standard blades. Yeah.
I'm a big white blade when it's like super overcast, super cloudy, a little bit of mud.
Smallmouth, especially.
Yes. Large, I'm telling you, man, largemouth too. I'm telling you, you get in that pre-spawn and you throw that white blade, man. I'm telling you, it just, for me, that silver, like I'm generally a willow leaf guy, and that silver blade will reflect whatever the sky is. So if it's gray, you're not getting as much flash. So if I'm fishing a gray sky, I like to go to a gold, depending on how clear the water is. And then if we've got a combo of like, say, a foot, and it's raining, I go to those white blades, man. And I'm telling you, dude, I was smoking them on the white blades. It's just, especially if they're eating shad, right there when they're on that heavy feed, which I know, I mean, you can throw a white hook out there at sometimes and get them. But it really was, I had guys who I feel like were better spinnerbait anglers than me. And they were like, "You were catching them on a spinnerbait?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I was catching them pretty good." Because again, I got a real bad habit of not lying. But, I was like, "Yeah, man, I was catching them real good." And I was like, "Yeah, white spinnerbait blades, man, I'm telling you." Of course, next day it's sunny, so it didn't matter.
Right.
It was sunny. Then they started catching them, What's your thoughts on the Camus, man? And I want to know why the 20, not the 21.
So bass boats are kind of like finding a shoe for you. It's all about your style, what you want, kind of what you're trying to get out of it. And I'm not trying to bash any bass boat brand. They're all nice. It's 2022. They're all nice. But a Camus really fits my style as far as it being a little bit more fast boat. I like to run around a lot. I like to jump around a ton. And I went with the 20 because it's a little bit smaller, a little bit more nimble. I can get in around behind docks better. I can get in, backs of creeks a little bit better. And all that type of stuff is just like, I don't think I would ever run a 21-foot boat unless our schedule was just like 7 really big water places where I had to fish offshore. Then a 21 would be a better option. But for me and my style and the kind of schedule that we had for this year, the 20-footer is going to be the best one.
Gotcha. So now here's actually one of my weak points, and it's really frogging because up here they raise and lower the lake so much. There's no such thing as grass.
Right.
So, a couple of the guys may be smoking it on the bank, but other than that, there's no grass around here.
Right.
So what is the best month? When do you like to throw a frog?
I would say number 1 is June and number 2 is August. So that's my 2 best ones. Number 1 is June, number 2 is August.
So what do you find yourself throwing more? Do you find the regular walking frog, regular frog, or a popping frog the most?
I throw a popping frog probably 98% of the time. The only time I don't is on grass mats, but I throw that popping frog a lot. That's what I keep tied on all the time.
All right. Let's see. All right, guys. We are 15 after, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to let Kyle get to his lovely wife. I'm sure she probably wants to strangle me right now, and I know mine's sitting in there thinking the same thing. So I am going to go ahead and we're going to do this giveaway real quick. And, y'all can make fun of the IT guy here in just a second because I never get this right. So
they have to be watching to be in the giveaway?
They do have to be watching to claim the giveaway. And what we'll do is we'll do a hashtag. Let's see. I've got to figure out. This is
how many do we have?
We've got 179, so right at 180 right now. And let's see, Chrome tab. We got StreamYard giveaway. Here we go. All right, guys, here we go. All right, Kyle. Now pay attention to because they'll get early, like you can't do hashtag girth. So give me a hashtag and a word. What we got?
Hashtag banger.
There it is. All right, guys. So we're going to continue talking for just a few minutes to win, and I'll go over what you're winning again. Cumberland Pro, one of my very favorite kind of finessey style buzz baits. Love these. This come right off my wall. I'm giving this away. I'm not happy about it, but I got a bunch of them. So I'm giving my Sakushi bug away. Tackle Junkie, if you're still in here, you better tell your boy to get in this one. I know he's the Sakushi master. We're giving away one of both my and Kyle's favorite baits and colors, and that is the Spro Little John. That's the 50 in the spring crawl. Great color right there.
It catches them.
It does, hands down. I'm a huge Spro fan, and we're giving away a Jinko right here. This is another great little color, good little finesse bait in that chartreuse side. That kind of I almost call it like a root beer.
Root beer. Color. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, like a root beer color, which is also great in the lakes around East Tennessee. Yep. And then this is great, guys. I'll tell you. I like to put these on spinner baits. I like to put these on chatter baits, and I like to put these on buzz baits when they are chasing the shad spawn.
Swim jig too.
Yeah, swim jig too. Can't believe I left that out. Yep. So that's why my best friend is Kyle Welcher. No. Kyle's gonna like follow me. I'm like stalking him and stuff.
Restraining order coming.
Hashtag restraining order on the next giveaway. No, man, I really do want to say, man, I mean, I really did. And I hope, Kyle, I hope Kyle just knows I'm a big goofy dude. But we really did hit it off, man. And I already got 76 people entered in the giveaway. That's awesome. Now, here, I do want to do this real quick. Nope, that's the wrong one. But I want to make sure I get Kyle's YouTube channel out there. So
Jerry Valentor said he got some of those Spro baits after watching one of my videos.
Oh, there you go.
He saw it firsthand how good he catches.
Hey, those things are. I love, man. I've got, that's one of the deals. I literally have a whole section of Spro on my wall in my favorite colors that I keep. Thank God I have a great wife who doesn't mind me spending every dime we make.
Right.
So, All right, guys, here I want to make sure I'm gonna spam this, guys. Make sure, and of course it will be. And actually, no, that is not. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what's happening here. Let's click on Kyle. Some sort of weird code is happening. There we go. But guys, his YouTube channel is also in the description. What is going on?
We had another question where William Laws asked if forward face sonar has changed my style.
Ooh.
And it hasn't really changed my style, but it has opened up to where you can actually catch suspended bass, where for the longest time we've not been able to do that. It's been very difficult.
You know, that was one of the things that I heard. I don't remember if it was Bass Talk Live you were on. I don't remember where it was that you were talking about it. It might have been your video where you talked about following some of the bass and actually finding a brush pile.
Yeah.
And that's pretty incredible. I mean, it's absolutely changed the game. You know, I've done enough interviews with a lot of guys that I think to deny that it's changed the game is just lying. And I know from not having it and being a computer geek, I'll tell you right now, being a computer geek, having my electronics where I'm comfortable is almost just as important to me as having the right bait. Oh, I think we lost Kyle for a second. I'm sure he'll jump back on. But that's what I was saying is, it really is, one of the most important things to me, is to see, to have my electronics right. All right, I'm texting Kyle right now. I'm sure he'll be with us. So we're at 86 entries. Guys, I do want Kyle to be able to get back on here because I want him to be here when we do the giveaway. But I know he was on it. I think he was on his phone too, so it may have died. And if it can't, guys, I want to say, but I do want him to shout out his sponsors and everything too, all of his social media. So I do want to try and get him on here. So we're at 87. I'll just kind of blather on for just a minute. Hunter pulled the plug. Yeah, she was like, all right, buddy, that's enough. It's time to get in here. Yeah, come to East Texas. Catch some big ones shallow right now. He hasn't texted me back. We might have drained his phone. It says it was there. He is. There he is.
It ended on me. I don't know what happened, but it said the stream ended.
Huh. Wow. That's all right, guys. So we're going to go ahead. We got 88. I tell you what, give me two more. So we got 90 entries. We're going to do the giveaway. We're going to let Kyle shout out everybody because I know Hunter is going to come head hunting and cut my head off. I don't let him get in there and have some family time because they just got home from South Carolina today. We're at 89. Come on, one more. Come on, give us one more.
I'll enter that sucker.
There we go. We're at 90. We're going to draw right now. All right, Dave. I am not going to even try to pronounce your last name, Dave, but you won.
It's rigged.
Main wiring. Listen, Dave. I'm a hillbilly, so I speak hillbilly. But Dave, thanks, man, for entering. I'll tell you what. Make sure you hit this. This is my. I'm going to put it in the comments right now. All right, there we go. Just make sure you hit that Gmail. That's right. It does say bassgeek.bite.me. Oh, nope. I put it wrong. Don't send it to that one, Dave. See, I told you I can't spell.
No spelling. Not around here.
I told you I only speak hillbilly. All right, here we go. Now we're going to put this one in there. All right, Dave, are you in here? First off, yep, you're there. There you go, Dave. Hey, hit that Gmail account. Send me your address, and we will get all that shipped out. And right now, again, man, Kyle, first off, it was an honor to meet you down there. And really, dude, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. You know, Kyle and me talked about a lot of stuff. He really motivated me to do things, and things have started going very well because of that. To one day live my dream and be able to be out on the lake and not trapped in a glass box like I was today, looking outside going, man, why am I here?
Real.
And, you know, he really motivated me, you know, kind of stuck a foot in my rear end and was like, look, boy, you need to be doing better than this. And, you know, I appreciate him. But right now I want him to go ahead and shout out all your social media, all your sponsors, and anything else. And you better shout out Hunter too, because if she's watching, you don't say hi. She's got all rights to slap the taste out your mouth. I've been married. Wow. I've been married 28 years, buddy.
I better start with that. Thank you, Miss Hunter. She does a lot though, and that's kind of the backbone of the YouTube channel that we have. And all my social media is Kyle Welcher or Kyle Welcher Fishing on Instagram and Facebook. But she films. She's always running around. If you're at any Elite Series tournaments, blast offs, or weigh-ins, you'll see her running around with a camera like a chicken with the head cut off. And she's the backbone of the YouTube stuff. She really is. She edits a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of videos with her and stuff like that. But she's the backbone of it. But that's my social media stuff, is pretty much just my name. I try to keep it simple. Be easy to find me.
There you go.
But I appreciate y'all watching.
Go ahead and shout out any of your, or shout out your sponsors too, brother.
Yeah. So Spro, actually, as you've seen,
yeah,
that was one of mine, a smallmouth crusher. And like I said, I'm with 13 rods and reels this year. Got my Black Rifle coffee hat on, striker shirt on. That's all I wear. Like, that's all I got. Is all I do is rep sponsors all the time. And, you know, I got lots of good ones. Fuji rod components, like I said earlier. You know, we've got 2 million accounts, Sunline, all that type of stuff. But it's good. It's going good. I got the sponsors I want to work with, and I promote them a good bit, so they'll be all right.
Well, man, guys, literally, I mean, it's an honor to have Kyle on. I mean, you know, like I said, I mean, you know, a classic runner-up, and I'm gonna say one day that'll change. I'm sure of it. The guy's a hell of a stick. He's a hell of a dude. And, you know, the dude Kyle Welcher is coming to a lake near you. That's all I can say. So you better hide those bass. But, guys, we appreciate all you guys coming out, man. Make sure you go subscribe to Kyle now.
Come on.
I know I seen him hop after that. I think he was right at 20,000 subscribers. And he jumped about a good 3, I believe. You had a good jump after the classic, man. You jumped up there quite a bit. So y'all better get on the bandwagon right now, so he knows who you are, because, you know, pretty soon he's gonna forget all of us little people.
Won't forget everybody
when he's a superstar.
I'm gonna lift that classic trophy up, drop it on my head, and have amnesia for all y'all. I ain't gonna remember anybody.
No, man. Kyle, like I said, Kyle's a dude, man. He's a good dude. All right. Anything you want to say before we sign off, man?
All good. I appreciate y'all watching. It's all good.
All right, man. Y'all take it easy. I don't even know what to say. But anyway, you guys rock.